Mr. Nkabinde is linked to receiving a large sum of money for the purposes of clothing from a service provider that IPID was investigating.
Just to confirm that Mr. Nkabinde at that stage wasn't the subject of any IDAC investigations?
Correct.
Okay. And then insofar as the second aspect is concerned, you mentioned that there was a purpose for the meeting with the Minister Mkhunu and Advocate Johnson, either the 20th or the 21st of January. I'm not sure whether you actually specifically told us what the purpose was and who told you that that was the purpose for the meeting.
I wasn't specifically told what the purpose of the meeting was. From the manner in which the conversation was going between Mr. Padiachi, Mr. Perumal, and Advocate Johnson, I picked up that there was, firstly, that this was not the first meeting, but what Advocate Johnson eventually said was that the minister wants to really clean up crime intelligence and SAPS. So I thought that was the purpose.
Just so that we are not confused, on 239, because you're talking about the meeting on the 20th.
Correct.
The late night meeting.
The night meeting, correct.
I don't know how late, but let's say it's an evening meeting.
Correct.
Let me not say late night. This one is on the 23rd of January 2025.
Correct.
And it must have taken place in the morning because Advocate Johnson says just met the minister now.
Correct, at 13:44.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, sorry. So at this page 239 and your evidence so far, there's then been at least 2 meetings between the minister and Ms. Johnson.
Correct.
According to this. Are you aware of any further meetings?
Not directly aware. I would just, in the meetings here, the minister said.
Okay.
But I didn't know how it was communicated or whether they were still meeting.
Okay.
And do you know who went with Advocate Johnson to this meeting?
The meeting of the 20th or the 21st?
This one, the 23rd.
The 23rd, no, I'm not aware of what that meeting was
You know about the 20th, who went with?
I was informed by Advocate Johnson that she was alone waiting for the minister with Mr. Nkabinde.
And with her protectors, of course.
Her protectors were asked to wait outside and her cell phones were handed to the protectors.
Okay. And then just staying on 239, when you start out the message to Advocate Johnson, you say, "Afternoon, Advocate Johnson. I spoke to tell us about the links and evidence regarding C and Cub." When you explained the taskings that Advocate Johnson gave on the 22nd of January, I don't recall you saying whether she had asked you to do something specifically. So I just wanted to know, how do you get to the point where you're telling her that you spoke to tell us? Was it an instruction from her or?
Correct. The instruction, after the communication and the discussion about Mr. Nkabinde, which was primarily between Mr. Perumal, Mr. Sissoko, and Advocate Johnson, we were just party to the meeting. Advocate Johnson instructed me, because Advocate Shabalala was the prosecutor on those 2 matters that were discussed, and those matters were within the IDAC space and already in court. Advocate Johnson instructed me to contact Advocate Shabalala and find out what evidence was contained in those 2 dockets against Mr. Nkabinde and then report to her. And that is how I determined through Mr. Advocate Shabalala that Mr. Peter White had documentary evidence with regards to forensic analysis.
Okay. Then do you want to continue with the timeline insofar as the Cedric Nkabinde matter is concerned? So now we've dealt with the 23rd For reference, if you then want to look at your affidavit, your April affidavit on 248, although this affidavit comes later, you do set out a comprehensive history of events that transpired.
In my affidavit, okay.
If we go to 253, that's where you talk about the 23rd of January.
253. On the 23rd of January 2025, around 1300 hours, I contacted Shabalala. I advised him that the ID asked me to contact him and ask him, sorry, it should say ask, but it says as, him about the link between Nkabinde and his two cases. He advised me that in Blue Lights there was a comprehensive report compiled by White. However, he was told by Advocate Law and Colonel Rule Officer that that is not the angle of prosecution that they were pursuing, and nothing was done further about the report. I then contacted the ID via WhatsApp explaining above and requesting instructions regarding obtaining the report. I was asked by the ID to obtain the report. I then contacted Sisoko. I asked him to please assist. I do not want to contact White directly as he is a witness in a matter that I am allocated. On the 24th of January 2025, ID indicated via WhatsApp to me she wanted a progress report on Nkabinde. A meeting took place on the 27th of January.
Okay, can we just establish that, so you're saying that on the 24th, Advocate Johnson asks for feedback from you?
Correct.
Okay, and that we will find in at page 242. Maybe we start at 240, the top of 240. And just to give context on the date that we're talking about, you can see on 239 that at the foot of that page it says 24 January 2025. And at 240 she says there's a message from Advocate Johnson at 10:54. Do you want to start there?
Thank you.
Before you start there, at that foot of 239, I handed all dockets that came to me in December to Chief and Brian. What dockets are these?
The original dockets that
Relating to Mr. Nkabinde?
No. This message was in relation to the fact that the dockets she had asked me to hand to her PA after they were photocopied, the Fadil Adams dockets.
Okay.
She then indicated to me that she handed all the dockets that came to me in December to Chief, being Mr. Perumal and Brian.
Okay. Thank you.
At 10:54, Advocate Johnson sends me a WhatsApp saying, just want to know how far we are with the Nkabinde stuff. I reply, I will advise within the next 20 minutes. The report was going to be sent to Mr. Sisoko.
You can leave that last part. We'll get to that when we deal with the Adams matters. And so that is what you were referring to, that you had indicated she asked for an update and you responded to that.
Correct.
Then you can go back to your statement, your affidavit at 253.
Thank you. I contacted Sisoko, however, he was in a meeting. I then contacted White directly. He explained at length the cell phone record, a payment of a large amount for clothing and a vehicle. I sent ID a text with this information, including the fact that White had a 5-page report on this, but was told to cease work and thus did nothing further. On the same day, Sisoko contacted me telephonically, indicating that he was on his way to the office and wanted to see me. When I went to his office, I found Binang being investigated, Mani Binang, and Shabalala being advocate, senior state advocate Tila Shabalala. The discussion was about the White's report. Shabalala indicated that a standalone prosecution can ensue, and Binang can start finalizing the investigation. Sissoko indicated that he did not want any of the IPID investigators to deal with the matter, and that a neutral IDAC investigator should pursue the investigation. I was then contacted by the ID's personal assistant, indicating that the ID was available for the meeting with Sissoko and myself. Perumal was already seated in ID's office when I arrived. The attendees at this meeting was the ID, Sissoko, Perumal, and myself. Sissoko proceeded to explain to the ID and Perumal the links as per the charts provided by White. There was discussions about the investigation that needs to proceed. Perumal indicated that Belochin can continue with the investigation.
Can I just pause there and ask you to, as part of our timeline, if you can go to 242 which is the WhatsApps, page 242. Are you there?
I am.
At 242, it's part of a message that you sent to Advocate Johnson about the Nkabinde matter at the top at 12:59. You say there's also links on cell phone records between Nkab and James. Who's James? You don't have to say it if it's...
No, he's a well-known former general, or lieutenant general of SAPS. It is James Ramanjulam. Yeah. He just finished serving a 5-year sentence after a plea agreement between the IDAC and himself.
Okay. And you say, so there's records between Mr. Nkabinde and James, and we will need to obtain those records from Sunil as well.
Correct.
And this is all part of part of fact-finding, fact-gathering in respect of Mr. Nkabinde.
Correct, on the instructions of Advocate Johnson.
No investigation authorized as yet?
No, there was nothing.
Okay.
Where Mr. Chabalala says that a standalone prosecution can ensue, it's a standalone prosecution of Mr. Nkabinde.
Correct.
That he's talking about.
Correct.
And the prosecution would be for what, as you understood it here?
Based on what I had been told at that point, Mr. Nkabinde is linked to receiving a large sum of money for the purposes of clothing from a service provider that IPID was investigating.
Whilst he was still at IPID?
While he was still at IPID. Okay. And the other link where I speak about James Ramanjulam is that there is cell phone records between the accused and Mr. Nkabinde, and there was an investigation that was being dealt with by both DPCI and IPID with regards to that procurement irregularities, and both those matters are in court.
Okay, thank you.
Did the report also reveal that he received an OD and some cash paid for by this person that was being investigated by IPID?
Correct. The report did indicate about the Audi. It also spoke about how the Audi was collected and for what period it was used, and the cash